Thanks, Stephen Green and Mark Dugan for lunch for Chick-fil-A. Always good for that. We appreciate that very much. Today, we've got two bills we're going to consider. First is House Bill 2274, which last year we combined a couple bills in there. Before we have any action on it, I'd like to have Carly Choi give us kind of a quick overview of the bill, and then have any questions for her before we move forward. Carly?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Committee, House Bill 2274, as amended by Senate Committee, contains two bills from the 2025 section currently. Section 1 designates Kansas as a Purple Heart State and requires the governor to proclaim August 7th of each year as Purple Heart Day. Sections 2, 3, and 5 amend KSA 81324, 81325, and 652418 respectively to permit homeless veterans to use alternative forms of proof of identity and residency when applying for non-driver identification cards. It also eliminates fees for homeless veterans to obtain birth certificates for the purpose of non-driver identification card applications. Section 4, which is the occupational licensure portion of the bill, was removed through the conference committee process, placed into 2280, and passed out of conference and passed across the floor. It is now in statute at 483406A.
Thank you, Carly. Any questions? And by the way, that was sent, I think the two bills we put in there was Senate Bill 200 on the Purple Heart, I think, and 106 was the identity piece of this. So, committee, any questions for Carly before we move on? Seeing none, we do have some testimony, and again, this is kind of weird because we had the hearing on this, or part of a hearing last year, so this is sort of like a continual hearing, or continuation of the hearing on House Bill 2274. And in person, we have Mike Kelly first from the Military Officers Association of America. Mike, welcome to the Senate Select Committee on Veterans Affairs.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Senators. Pleasure to be with you today. I'm president of the Kansas Council of Chapters of MOAA, Military Officers Association of America, and we advocate for the entire military community. We're pleased to support this bill. It has three different parts as has been laid out. Purple Heart Day, that's a no-brainer. We should honor those that have been wounded or killed in combat. We want to help out homeless veterans to get their life back together and getting these documentary privileges for them so that they can get their life restarted properly. We support that as well. As I testified last year when this was a separate standalone bill, we must make sure that the veteran status is confirmed and that it's consistent with the federal law. The back and forth on that last year was, from this committee, was yes, we agree with that. So if anybody feels differently now, I'd be happy to answer any questions on that. The third part of this is occupational licensure. One of the problems that military families have because they move around a lot is a spouse is a cosmetologist or is a physician's assistant or any kind of occupation that requires a professional license. Every state has their own regime for that. And so it's difficult to get recertified or relicensed in your new state after you're transferred. So what Kansas has done, and Kansas has done very well on this, and is that we've entered in interstate compacts for various occupational licenses, and there are a few more that are going to be coming forward. But another bill that Kansas passed in the past said that military spouses don't have to pay relicensing fees in Kansas when they come in if they have an active, valid license from another state. There's been some confusion about that. Did that apply to family members of the reserve components? So there's active duty, regular component, military, and then you have like Air Force Reserve and Army Reserve and Navy Reserve. Those are reserve components. And then the National Guard is a reserve component as well. So what this bill would do is to remove the word active in a couple of places to make it clear that spouses of reserve component military families are eligible for those occupational licensing streamlined procedures and fee waivers.
Michael, I believe that portion of the bill was removed because it was, we put it into a conference committee report, and I believe it passed out last year. So we don't have to worry about the occupational license part. That's already,
Ms.
no,
Choi
that's
for
okay.
Listening to her,
That is all right.
I am so sorry. Well, I'm so glad that the legislature in its wisdom took care of that already. I stand ready for any other questions, and I apologize for messing that up.
No problem at all, Mike. It's hard. It's hard for us to keep track of these things. Trust me on that. Before we open to questions, we'll go ahead and have the rest of the proponents testify, and then we'll open to anybody who wants to ask questions. Up next, we've got William Turner from the Kansas Office of Veteran Services. Welcome, William.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and committee members. Thank you for having the opportunity to be able to provide some testimony today. It's largely it's neutral in nature. It's just trying to seek some clarifications on some of the language and the things that are defined within the legislation mostly, while we also support the opportunity to be able to have the veterans, the homeless veterans, being able to receive this service as defined here. Number one, though, it's the idea that within the language there is a statement talking about seeking documents or certificates from the Kansas Office of Veteran Services, the Kansas Soldiers Home, or the Kansas Veterans Home. We're requesting that we limit that to the Kansas Office of Veteran Services, as these other organizations are organizations within ours. We have the ability at that point to provide the necessary documentation to validate said homeless individual's status as a veteran and the various criteria that are outlined in the legislation, be it that they are honorably discharged or general under honorable conditions that they've been discharged from service. And then the last piece was primarily focused on the idea that we just want to go back to there is a baseline definition for veteran that is inclusive of armed services and uniformed services and all the various folks. So just to make sure that the language as written, and we would work with Carly on this, sir, to make sure that we just are consistent with other legislation that we've been working to make sure it's integrated into all things that are related to veterans benefits.
Okay. And we have those suggested amendments on your testimony here, so I'll have Carly take a look at those, and we can discuss them in a moment. And I'll have our final testimony from Lieutenant Colonel Keith Marshall from the Adjutant General's Department. Lieutenant Colonel, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Lieutenant Colonel Keith Marshall with the Adjutant General's Department. Mr. Chairman, my testimony is exclusively relating to Section 4 of this bill. So as Ms. Choi noted, that testimony is no longer necessary. So I would consider myself highly non-essential to this committee's business today. So happy to stand for any questions should you have any of them.
Yeah, well, you're not non-essential. It's good to have you here. No doubt about that. Committee, any questions for any of our conferees? Senator Bowser and then Senator Klemp. Senator Bowser first.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A question for General Turner, I think, on the homeless veteran IDs and how, can you talk to us a little bit about how you verify that veteran's identity? Are you able to get into a database and pull up a DD-214 or something, or how, what's that process that you go through to identify that homeless veteran?
Yes, sir. So we have a number of means by which we could do this. Obviously, we would first start with our own internal systems. We have a claims management system that we utilize within our organization, Tyler ETK, that we would first go to determine if we can identify the veteran in the system. Once we can get the personal information that we need that might validate their proof of identity, then we can take that and put that through that system. We also have the Veterans Benefits Management System, the VBMS, that we can access. And then kind of as a last piece, if necessary, we can go out and seek the assistance of the VA regional office as well down in Wichita. So we work in close partnership with them as well. So at the point where we've exhausted all of our ability to do it on our own, then we would reach out through them to identify the DD-214 or the NGB form there that would allow them to be eligible for this piece.
Senator Klemp.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My question is also for the General. You had mentioned and I didn't catch all of it, where you were recommending through an amendment to extract out some other parties. In how we, in working with veterans, it was the first item you mentioned. Could you expand on that? My curiosity was, do those groups already fall under your area of responsibility, or the groups you're looking to extract out?
Yes, sir. So the Kansas Veterans Home and the Kansas Soldiers Home are both entities that fall underneath our organization. So we have the two veterans homes. And so if at the point where we get documents that are able to verify the identity of the individual, then at the Kansas Office of Veteran Services, we are responsible. And if necessary, we will work with the homes then to run down further information if we need to on those individuals.
Thanks for that clarification. Thank you.
Any further questions? Senator Dietrich.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for being here, and thank you for all your help in the past with some of the veterans issues I've called your office about. I really appreciate your responsiveness. My question is, it kind of goes back to what Senator Klump asked about the verification of the homelessness, and Senator Bowser. Do you have to run that up the flagpole to the feds, or can you find that information locally, and how quickly can you expedite that?
For the actual, to get the DD-214s?
Well, or any other information that you might need to be able to determine, is this a veteran, and who is this person?
Yes, ma'am. So at the point where so another portion of the legislation, I believe, talks to interactions that the veteran may have with nonprofits or with jails or with correctional facilities and the like, where they have interactions with these various organizations and they are receiving services. That is another tool to use to help identify that individual. So that might provide us that proof of identity, and using that information, then we can leverage our systems to go find the military documents, if you will, the DD-214 and whatnot, to validate the military. So it's really a two-part problem here. One is identifying the individual to who they are, who in fact they say they are, and what have you. And then the next piece is to validate their veteran status.
May I have a follow-up opportunity here? And do you have staff to be able to do that?
Yes, ma'am. I mean, it can happen fairly quickly.
Okay.
I mean, it's the number that I think that have been estimated in terms of the homeless in here is one is too many, obviously. Yes, ma'am, we understand that, but the numbers are probably fairly manageable for those that would be identified in this category that we can do that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Senator Argabright.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Is there a estimated number of how many homeless veterans we have in Kansas?
Sir, there is. I don't have that at my fingertips right now. I can get that for you. I want to say the latest estimate is probably from figures in 24, and this is purely off the top of my head when I recall. I want to say it's less than 200 right now was the numbers that were estimated.
Thank you. Thank you for your work.
Any further questions, committee? Senator Fasquedo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So to Senator Dietrich's question, so in Wichita, Passageways was a really big proponent of legislation for the birth certificate. So does your department network with them, and how?
And we don't network directly with them. I mean, indirectly, we have interactions with these folks as we make referrals and whatnot for the veterans that may come into we have field offices around the state. So we have 16 field offices and mobile units that go out, interact with veterans out in the communities. And as they identify somebody that may be in need or assistance that's housing related or for a number of other things, they can refer them over. They have access to those sources to refer them to those individuals for that assistance.
Any further questions? Seeing none, thank you. Oh, do you? Oh, Senator Clifford. Okay, I think we're in good shape. Just a quick question for Carly, our advisor. You see that language, committee, there's 3 asks from General Turner. One, again, to strike the Kansas Soldiers Home and Kansas Veterans Home from lines 29 through 31 on page 4, basically because they're subordinate to the Kansas Office of Veteran Services. So it puts them under the umbrella. Also on page 4, lines 20 and 21, verifying the character of the service is honorable or general under honorable conditions. And finally, update the definition of veterans to reflect the current Kansas language, including those groups listed under CFR, or 38 CFR 3.7. Yes, go ahead, and then you go to the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I believe for that second amendment, it's to allow the Kansas Office of Veteran Services to verify
this.
that they are honorable or generable under honorable conditions.
Okay. Does the committee understand all of those asks? And if you're comfortable with it, we'll hopefully I'll have Senator Billinger. Did you have a motion?
Yes, I motion that we accept the changes.
Very good. Second by Senator Faust-Godot. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. We'll give Carly the latitude to make those changes. So we're back on the base bill as we have discussed. Any further discussion or questions? Is there a motion on House Bill 2274? Senator Billinger. We have a motion from Senator Billinger to pass out House Bill 2274 as amended. As amended. Second by Senator Klemp. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. That is passed. Thank you very much, committee. Next, we have a quick hearing on Senate Bill 434, and we'll have Carly give us a quick bill brief on that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Committee, Senate Bill 434 amends KSA 793606H to provide a new determination of disability for disabled veterans who qualify for certain retailers' tax exemptions. The new determination requires such veteran be rated with 100% permanent and total service-connected disability or a total disability rating based on unemployability. It also provides citations to the United States Code that include retirement or separation from a military component for physical disability and compensation for service-connected disability or death. Senate Bill 434, as introduced, would become effective upon publication in the statute book. And I can stand for questions.
Questions for Carly? Seeing none, I think, Senator Clifford.
So, this is a tax committee, but I want to make sure we are not creating a new tax break. This is existing law, correct?
Mr. Chair, that is correct.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Very good. Committee, any further questions? Seeing none, thank you, Carly. We have proponent testimony from Mike Kelly, again, Military Officers of America. Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for taking my testimony. Carly and I have worked together on a number of other bills where this issue has come up, and Kansas has definitions of disabled veterans in many statutes, and some of them say if your disability was granted by the Secretary of Veterans Affairs. That's only one way to get a federal disability determination, and that's the one for former service members. Someone who's currently in active service, a currently serving person, like Senator Schmidt, for example, if he were to become disabled and he would meet the Military Medical Evaluation Board and Physical Evaluation Board, and they said, your injury makes you unfit for further duty and you're medically retired. That disability determination for a Navy sailor would be granted by the Secretary of the Navy. And it's under Title 10 U.S. Code, and the VA disability determination is under Title 38 U.S. Code. So this bill would recognize both disability determination processes. It doesn't change the tax provision at all. That's why I'm not talking to Senator Tyson right now. But all this does is recognize federal disability determination for currently serving active troops. That comes from Title 10, and that disability determination is signed by their service secretary, not by the VA. Both are equally valid, and both should be equally treated under Kansas law. I stand for any questions, sir.
Thank you, Mike. We'll wait until we have General Turner testify, and then we'll open for questions. General, up next.
Thank you again, sir. Again, Our purpose is primarily to just try to add some clarifying language here. Number one, we had to do with, I'm not sure if I'm on the same line, but I believe it starts at line 14 where it makes reference to honorably discharged. And we were just seeking, there's 5 characterizations of service when an individual is discharged from the military in these situations. So what we were seeking is the intent to be, that they've received an honorable discharge and general under honorable conditions. And we're just seeking to clarify that language with the committee. And then also, in the next line down, it speaks to the service component of the armed forces. Again, speaking to the definition of veteran, just to ensure that this is inclusive of the armed services and the uniformed services, which would be then expanded to meet the definitions that we have in place for a veteran in the state to be inclusive of our armed service folks, the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, Space Force, Coast Guard, as well as the NOAA folks, National Oceanographic folks, and the United States Public Health Services that have commissioned officers that serve in those 2 respective organizations. We probably have less than 10 to 15 people in the state here that are in that category, but just to ensure that we have the consistency of the definitions, what we were seeking there, sir. Nothing further.
Okay. Thank you, General. Committee, any questions on this particular bill from any of the, Senator Fasquedo?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, it's for the first gentleman. Yes.
Michael Kelly, thank you, Senator.
Yes, thank you. So explain what you just previously stated. So you'll have a combination of agencies that will verify the, and you mentioned Senator Clinton, but you said if you're active or non-active. Clarify, please.
Yes, ma'am. Let's start with currently serving military, and I think Senator Schmidt is in the Navy Reserve right now, and so he's currently serving. And then somebody like me, I got discharged, retired in 2006, so I'm a formerly serving service member. Okay, my disability process was handled by Veterans Affairs under Title 38 U.S. Code, Chapter 11. And Carly and I have gone round and round about the section numbers and the chapter numbers and all that, but she and I are in agreement on this, I'm pretty sure. So that's for somebody that is a former service member, goes through the VA, Title 38. Somebody that's currently serving, they get injured in training or they get wounded and their injuries are so severe that they cannot continue in military service. There's a process, it's called IDES, Integrated Disability Evaluation System, and it's a DoD-wide, has the same rules for all the services, and it says you go through a 2-step process, and at the end of that, if they determine that you're unfit for duty, then you're either offered a medical separation or a medical retirement. And for those folks, when they get that disability determination of unfit for duty, that's signed by their service secretary. So soldiers get it from the Secretary of the Army, Marines get it from the Secretary of the Navy, Airmen get it from the Secretary of the Air Force. Coast Guard gets it from Homeland Security. Thank you, Secretary of Homeland Security. If the Secretary of Homeland Security is authorized to work on anything next week, I don't know. But so there's a difference between those. Now, a military person that's medically retired under Title 10, Chapter 61 authority, later on, if their disability progresses, then they would go through the Title 38 process, and their upgrade to their disability rating would be handled by the VA. So, okay, did that do it for you? Okay.
Senator Bowser?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I want to take just a quick minute to thank all of our former and current service members here. Thank you for your service. And I just want to also note that the SB 434, according to the Department of Revenue, this bill would have no fiscal impact. And while I am only 30% disabled, some days I feel like I'm 100% disabled. But thank you again for your service. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Clifford?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Colonel Kelly, I appreciate your fast, neat, average, friendly, good testimonies. And I wonder if you might share with the committee why I just said that.
Yes, Senator Clifford and I attended the Air Force Academy in the bicentennial class of 76, Spirit of 76. And here we are 50 years later, and we're going to be doing the semi-sesquicentennial. I didn't practice saying that ahead of time. So I'm proud that we've protected our Constitution for these 50 years. The fast, neat, average, friendly, good. There is a form in our dining hall at the Air Force Academy, and you get to provide feedback on the meal and the people who serve the meal. And the freshmen, we used to call them doolies, they're not called doolies anymore. The freshmen fill out the form, and the standard answer is fast, neat, average, friendly, good. There's six blocks there. And what's interesting about that is when a pilot was shot down in Vietnam, the rescue crew came to get him, rescue helicopter came to get him, and they wanted to verify that he was really the person that was shot down and not the Vietnamese trying to draw rescue forces in and hurt them. And so the challenge was fast, neat, average. And the guy came back on his rescue radio, friendly, fast, neat, average, friendly, good. So that has actually been used in wartime.
Yes, and thanks for your testimony. It's become kind of a secret message between graduates. I got on a plane in Madrid once, and I had an Air Force shirt on, and the pilot was standing there welcoming the passengers, and he said, fast, neat, average. I said, friendly, good. So we kind of know each other. Thank you for your testimony today, Colonel.
You also have a secret handshake? Just checking on that. Thank you very much.
Well, sir, I do have that, and
I'm sure you do.
So there's my class of 76 coin.
Very good.
Class crest on the back, and Senator Clifford brought his today, so he does not owe me an adult beverage.
76, I was a lowly E2 on an aircraft carrier, so I was a little bit. Committee, any further questions for the conferees? Seeing none, Carly, are you good with the suggested amendments by General Turner? Okay, committee, any questions about that, or is there a motion to allow Carly to do this? So, Senator Clifford.
So unfortunately, we're amending, so I would wanted to put this on consent, but we are going to have amendments.
Yeah, first
just,
amend it, yes.
This isn't just discretion of the reviser?
At the discretion of the reviser to take the amendments offered by General Turner.
So it's still amended, okay.
Amend the bill.
So I'd move Senate Bill 434 favorably for passage as amended.
Well, first we need to do the amendment motion first. Yeah.
Okay, I move to, sorry.
Yes, go right ahead, Clark.
Excuse, General Turner, can I ask you a question about your second amendment, please?
Make sure.
So just to be clear, are you asking the amendment to strike armed forces and insert uniform services?
Yes, ma'am. So it should be, it's armed forces and the uniform services. Yeah, they're all together at that point. Yes.
Sorry to be, so would you like to remove armed forces and?
Uniform services includes the Army.
It's understood.
Okay.
Inclusive of both. And
So the amendment would be to strike armed forces and insert uniform services. Wonderful, thank you.
We're clear on that now, Carly. So we have a motion by Senator
amendment.
Clifford.
Can I move my amendment?
Well, we've got a second by Senator Argabright. Any further discussion? Yes, certainly. Senator Dietrich, that's all right.
About something I should probably not think. Do we use uniform services in other legislation that we run through when we're talking about veterans? Could you just, or maybe Carly knows this? I don't.
Carly can probably answer that.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senator Dietrich, I do believe so. We have the legislature has included uniform services when referring to veterans.
Thank you. I just
Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we have a motion by Senator Clifford, second by Senator Argabright on allowing Carly to make those amendments. And all those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. We're back on the base bill. Now, any further discussion on the bill or a motion? Senator Clifford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the honor of moving Senate Bill 434 as amended favorably for passage.
We have a motion by Senator Clifford, second by Senator Starnes. Any further discussion? And I might note, we typically leave bills laying over, but since we so infrequently meet, and as long as the committee is good with this, we'll proceed with a vote. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. And that bill passes out. Committee, that is all that we have for today. I hope to have maybe another meeting if there is desire in the second half after turnaround at some point. If you have any particular bills that you would like, bring them to my attention, and we'll try to schedule a meeting sometime after turnaround and before the end of session. Thank you so much for coming today. We appreciate it very much, and we are adjourned.